Hello everyone, this is Satyaprakash. Welcome to Coding Knowledge. In this video, we will discuss on significance of Angular CLI configuration file, that is angular.json. This is the configuration file that the Angular CLI uses. So before going through this session, visit my previous Angular CLI videos. You can get this link in my description section. So in this session I'd like to talk about few points. So this one, the configuration file in Angular CLI, discuss various settings and their purpose, and how to fix node_modules empty case. So before do that, I'll open my command prompt as an administrator. So I just want to open my previous Angular file. So we just mention the code here, so it will open our Angular application, that is Satya 1. So I will tell you what is the configuration file that is the Angular CLI uses. So this is the most important configuration file in every Angular projects. Even you can in your real-time scenario or your sample application, whatever it is. So it is already have opened there, and you just you see here, if you expand this, you see angular.json. This one the configuration file, and I have opened this file. So here, so as you can see, there is several settings. So these settings I have used when I generate features like components, pipes, services, etc. And we can run unit and end-to-end testing as well as build the application, etc. This is the nothing but all the settings: root, source root, prefix, architecture, build, builder, options, output path. So we will discuss about all these settings and their purpose in next few points. So in projects property, you'll see it specified the name of Angular project, that is Satya 1. So this property specifies the name of the project, Satya 1. Project type is application, and second one is source root property. So source root property specifies the source root directory of the application. Though the default directory was src. Src is nothing but source. So you can see here src folder is available here. It is the default directory of the application. So third point is, in src all projects folder are inside it. So app and assets, environments, it's all included in the src folder. So the output path property specifies, you can see the output path properties. It specifies the output directory of the build results. By default it is named as dist/satya1. So all the build related results will be found in this directory, that is output path directory, and this directory path is dist/satya1. So fourth one is the index property specifies the name of our HTML file. So here index property specifies the name of the file, that is source/index.html. So you'll see here the index.html inside the source folder. And the fifth one is the main property specifies the main entry point of Angular application. So and the name of the file is source/main.ts. you can get here, that is a main.ts is found here. So you'll see here in the directory, that is main.ts inside the source directory. So the sixth one is the polyfills property specifies that Angular is built on the latest standards of web application, and the name of the file is source/polyfills.ts. So here is the polyfills setting is there, and the path is mentioned source/polyfill.ts, and here you can see the physical file, that is polyfills.ts in the source directory. And the seventh one is in test property, it specifies the main entry for the unit testing. So here test property, if you'll find here, that is the mm, it specifies the main entry point for the unit test. So I need to just search here, that is tst. So here you'll see that is the test part. In test property you'll see the test one summary, it is mentioned the test. Here they mention the test property, and in test property it specifies the main entry point for the unit testing. So this is the path source test.ts. so here is found this file, this test.ts inside src folder. It is for main entry for unit testing. And the point number 8 is in tsconfig property. So you'll see in there is a property called tsconfig property. There is two types of tsconfig property. So you just search here tsconfig, and you'll see, just search this one. Okay, now you'll find here that is tsconfig property here. So in tsconfig property it specifies the TypeScript compiler configuration for our Angular application. So one is tsconfig.app.json for our Angular application, and TypeScript compiler configuration for unit testing, that is tsconfig.spec.json. and another is for end-to-end testing, so that is e2e/tsconfig.json. So this is all about tsconfig property. And the style property we need to discuss. So here you find that is style property. So here the style property specifies the global property, global style property of our application. So by default the name of the file is, that is src/style.css. so we can also use less or scarce. So to change to less or scarce, use the style option when generating a new Angular project using the ng-new command. So in the next point I will show you how to do it. So create a new project to use sass. So I need to write the syntax here. So just clear the screen and put the directory. So here, so we need to create a new project what already have created. I just want to tell you what the command is. So ng-new code proj1 and style dash style and scss. If you want to make your style as sass, so you just click mention the code and put enter. So though I already have created, I don't need to create again. So I already have created the project with same name. So let's just open it. So code, I want to close this existing one. So I already have closed. I want to open as the, that is cd code proj1. So I want to open this project. So it will open the project, that is code proj1. So you can, I'll show you what is the style property in angular.json file. In previous project it was css by default, the style was css, but here I have mentioned that style should be sass. So I just open and just close this one. I just open as the angular.json file here in the code proj1 folder. So here the angular.json I need to open. So you can see in your style part, you can see the style property in angular.json file. It sets as src/style.sass. so it is the change to css to sass. Okay, now in the next point, if you look at the root component of source folder, notice the component using app.component.scss. so here you can see the root component, that is our app component.css, it is by default contain the CSS. So if you look at the root component of source folder, the component is using app.component.css. So when we generating new component, it is going to use sass as a style for that newly generated component. So in next point I'll show you how to generate component and it contains a CSS style. So for this we need to clear the screen and for generating a new component with name book. So I'll show you what is the syntax: ng generate and component book. Okay, now this is the syntax to create a component with name book. So ng generate component book. So though I already have created this component, so I'll no need to create again. So you can see in the new component is using a CSS as style. So here I open the book component. Here you will see the new component is using a CSS as a style instead of default CSS. So every time you generate any new component, it uses a CSS as a style. Okay, now in our next point I'll show you. So if you want style as CSS instead of sass in your component, then use the command CSS with style option. So I'll show you what is the syntax for this. So C drive /code pros1. So ng generate component, and I want to name of the component as pen, and I want to change to sass to style CSS with style option. So ng generate component pen, the component name, and dash style with style option, and we want style as CSS. So already have created the component pen, so no need to create again. So I will open this pen component here. So you'll see the component is CSS. So you'll see the component pen is using style as a CSS instead of a sass as you mentioned in the book, but here for pen component I use the style as CSS. So in our next point I will discuss about the prefix property. So the prefix property specifies to select prefix to our generated component. So I'll show you what is the prefix here. So I want to just search, that is what is the prefix property value. Here prefix property value is app by default. So the property value is app. If you go to root component, that is the app.component.ts, then you can so I'll go to the root component. So app.component.ts, here you will see the selector as app hyphen root. So if you go to book component, then check selector. So if you go to book component and check selector, that is book component.ts, so you will see the selector as app hyphen book with prefix app. So if you go to pen component, then check the selector. If you open the pen component.ts file, so here you will check the selector as, if you go to pen component, the check selector as app hyphen pen. Here app is the prefix and pen is the component name. So in our next one I'll show you how to change the prefix name using ng-new command and mention the prefix value as per your requirements. So for this I need to write the syntax for it. So ng new code proc Okay, now I want to I just want to create a new project for it. So ng new code proj 2 and dash dash prefix, and I want to the prefix as Satya. Though I already have created this project with CodeProj 2 with prefix Satya, no need to create again because it takes much more time to download our node modules, that is node packages using npm in our node underscore modules folder. So that's why I already have created. It is for better understanding and it saves the time. So here I already have created the CodeProj 2, so I just want to map here, that is CodeProj 2. Here I want to open. I just close the existing one, that is CodeProj 1. So I want to open it, this CodeProj 2 project. So it will open our CodeProj 2 project in Visual Studio Code with prefix that is Satya instead of app. So you can need to open the angular.json in your project, that is CodeProj 2 Angular application. So it takes some time to open this project. So, okay, now it is already have opened the Angular Proj 2 Angular application using Visual Studio Code. So I need to expand this folder of Angular file. Okay, now we already opened the angular.json file here. So here you can see you can search for prefix. So here a prefix you can see as angular.json. You notice the prefix property with name Satya. So if you look at the root component, then you see selector as Satya hyphen root with prefix Satya. So if you just go to the root component, that is app.component, you just means close these folders and go to the root component, that is app.component.ts of CodeProj 2 file. So you'll see the selector as Satya hyphen root. Satya is nothing but the prefix name here, and a root is the component name. So Satya we have mentioned in our project prefix as Satya, that's why it is selector as Satya hyphen root. So if you look at the root component, then you see selector as Satya hyphen root with prefix Satya. So every time you generate any new component, it uses prefix property value Satya, which is present in angular.json. So here you can see the angular.json prefix property is set to as Satya. That's why in every component the selector as mentioned Satya as hyphen and your root name, your component name. Okay, now so every time if you generate any new component, it uses prefix property value Satya, which is present in angular.json file. So next point, let's generate new component with name tech. So for this we need to write command for this. So I need to create a component ng generate component, and we need to the component name as tech, and although I already have created this component, no need to create again. So if you see the tech component, then you see the selector. So let's go to the tech component here, expand this. If you go to tech component.ts, we can see the selector as we can see the selector as Satya's hyphen tech. Satya is nothing but the prefix, and tech is the name of the component name. Okay, now in our next point, if you want to override the prefix setting in the Angular CLI configuration file, then what to do? Then you can use dash prefix option with the generate command. So I'll show you what is the syntax is. Using the syntax, it is possible to override the prefix setting. So for this, I write to command that is ng generate and component, and the component name should be news, and I want to change the prefix as instead of Satya I want to change as world in our component news. Though I already have created, no need to execute again. You just see our project directory. If I expand the news with the prefix world. So if you go to news component, news component.ts file, you can see selector as world hyphen news. So world is nothing but the prefix name, and news is the name of the component. In this way, we can override the prefix settings in Angular CLI configuration file while generating the components. So here world as the prefix and news as the component. So in our next and final point, the value in Angular CLI configuration files, we just want to open again. So for better understanding, angular.json. So the value in Angular CLI configuration files depends on the options that you have used with ng-new command when generating new Angular project. So the options like dash prefix can be used with several commands like ng-new and ng-generate. So ng-new, like if you create any new project, you can use dash prefix for it, and ng-generate for creating new components, and use dash prefix for overriding the prefix setting in the Angular CLI configuration file for with the generated component file. So this is all about our important points we discuss on the practical session of this in this video. So let's go to the presentation. So I need to flip to the presentation file. Here we discuss about few definitions and theoretical part here. So what is angular.json? This is the configuration file that Angular CLI uses. There are various settings are used in cases as mentioned below. In which cases we can use this? These settings what we have already described. So when we generate Angular features like components, pipes, services, etc., and when we run unit and end-to-end test, when we build the application, etc. What are the settings and their purpose? So first setting is source root. The root directory of the application default is src. We can change this using the source-dir option when generating a new Angular project using the ng-new command. First one is source root, and second one is output path setting, and their purpose is the output directory of build results default is dist. And our next setting is assets. So list of application assets that you want to copy when building your project. By default, the src/assets/folder and src/favicon.ico are copied over. So I'll show you what is assets there. If you go to Visual Studio Code, you see here that is assets property. It contains src and favicon.ico and src assets. So I already have described in our presentation. And our next one is index, the name of the start.html file, which is index.html by default. And main setting is the purpose is the name of the main entry point file, that is main.ts by default. So the next setting is polyfills, the name of the polyfills file. The Angular is built on the latest standards of the web application, and targeting such a wide range of browsers is challenging. because not all browsers support all the features of modern browsers or advanced browsers. So this can be compensated by using polyfill scripts that implement missing features in JavaScript. So that is the main roles and responsibilities of polyfill setting in angular.json configuration file in our Angular CLI projects. Our next setting is styles. Their purpose is use global styles to be included in the build. The default is style.css. Also we can change to less or sass as per the requirement of using style. So we can also use less or sass to change to less or sass. Use the style option when generating a new Angular project using ng-new command. Our next setting is prefix. Their purpose is the selector prefix to apply for the generated components, and the default is app. This can be modified or changed by using prefix option when generating new Angular project using ng-new command. Also this can be changed using while you generating new components and using prefix option, and in the prefix option you can mention the name of the prefix option there. So by default is app prefix for prefix property, and you can change this property by using -- prefix option using ng-new command or ng-generate command. So here I'll describe that is how to fix node_modules empty case. In case of generate a project with -- install flag, and when you try to generate a new component using ng-new command before executing the npm install command, you'll get the error that is node_modules appears empty. You may need to run npm install. So you'll get this warning or error while you skip the install flag, and before npm install, if you executing or generate any new component that is using ng-new command, in that scenario you'll get the error message that is node_modules appears empty. You may need to run npm install to download and install the npm related packages in your Angular project. To fix this issue, first execute npm install to install the required npm packages and then generate the component. So this is my YouTube channel Coding Knowledge. In this channel you can get the knowledge on .NET Core, Angular, MVC, SQL Server, MSBI, Business Intelligence Report, Power BI Report, and you can subscribe it, like and share it, and get the up-to-date knowledge on different technology. So in our previous part is in a summary, that is what we have learned in this session. We have learned the below details, that is what is configuration file in Angular CLI, we have discussed the various settings and their purpose in whatever the angular.json file, and how to fix node_modules empty case. If you generate the file, you generate any new component while skip the npm install instead of install the npm packages, what is the error message you will get, and how to fix node_module empty case. So that's all about, guys. Thank you for listening and have a great day.